We're ready for our next speaker, so I'm going to introduce her. Yeah, I'm going to introduce her, and she's the OG Hum Saath Saath Hai girl who gave Bollywood some of its most iconic screen moments. But apart from her many movies, she has written a new script. She survived cancer, not with noise, but with something Gen Z calls a power move, grace in adversity. And now, with a book of books, she's reminding a new generation that the ultimate glow-up doesn't come from filters, but from flipping pages. She gave us 13 reasons why everyone should read, Netflix should take notes. She taught us the 40 rules of loving reading, and none involved a charger. And she's walked us through reading walls more magical than any Hogwarts letter. Whilst most of us are figuring out our 3-line Insta bios, she's one who's crafting chapters of courage, curiosity, and calm. From book enchanted to being the real-life fairy godmother of Indian lit culture, she's not just booked and busy, she's building a modern Gurukul, and that's the reason why it gives me great pleasure that in the middle of the many things that she's doing, she's taken out time to come and talk to young people and the future of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, none other than Sonali Bendre. See, this is the thing with people from Bollywood. Their right angle and left angle both look good. So when I ask them the question saying, which side do you want to sit on? Their question inarguably is always this, saying, Rishabh, where do you prefer to sit? Because you need the better side. But thank you, Sonali, for doing this.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. And I've been reading up and seeing what your organization does. And Rishabh, it's so amazing. Really, really amazing.
Really appreciate it.
I felt so, the enthusiasm of youth always makes you feel so much more alive, and that's what I feel today. I promise you, reaching this all the way across town at 10:30
I know.
would have never happened. I do feel my age when I have to get up that early in the morning, but yeah, this was special, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
In an age of role models, the series is called I.I.M.U.N. Role Model Series. And in an age of role models, we've got, we are in a day and age where there are more real models and less role models, where essentially we see people on reels and we talk about these people on reels. But at the same point in time, I feel people who are role models and who are also on reels, such as yourself, are the ones who actually are battling things in private, are not putting out everything on social media. And sometimes when they put out stories on social media, like your entire journey through cancer and then how you fought it, those are stories that need to be shared with millions. And I personally believe that sometimes there's too much of clutter and noise, and choosing a role model is a difficult thing because you've got so much of information, or rather misinformation. How does a young person today choose a role model? We've put Sonali Bendre as a role model to 1 lakh schools who are going to watch this, correct? But how does a normal person who's watching this video on social media say that this is my role model?
My God, thank you so much. I always say, in life, I never thought I would be a role model to anybody. It never started like that. And I think that's the strange thing about life. I think it's not about wanting to be a role model or something. It's about doing what you can do as honestly as you can, just bringing your best to whatever it is and however small it is. And I think just giving your best in whatever the situation is what eventually adds up, and maybe like you say today, you become a role model.
A role model.
Really, thank you so much for that. But that was not the intention, to be a role model. It happened as time passed by.
Sure.
So when I look for role models, it's never some one person. Because I've been asked this question a lot of time, who's the hero you look up to? Who do you look up to? Who is your role model? And my answer has always been that everybody is a human being.
Correct.
And the moment you put a human being on pedestal, then there'll come a time when they're pulled off the pedestal.
Sure.
None of us are perfect. So for me, the person who's imperfect
Correct.
and yet finds and tries to make things sort of perfect for others
Sure.
is someone who would be my role model. For me, someone who steps out and gives their best is my role model. And that doesn't have to be someone like a major actor or a business leader or a political leader or anybody like that. It can be just my help at home who comes in every day and as a single mom brings up 3 kids and is just putting her best out there. I think she's a role model because she's putting the best that she can for her kids. And I think that's an amazing role model to have.
I'm so glad. You know, we're going to get to what she's come here for, but I'm so glad we started with this, you know, because, Sonali, if I may, today we see the world in binaries. Media also pushes things in binaries. It's either black or white. It's either you love Prime Minister Modi or you don't like him. It's not the fact that the thing that you spoke about is that we need to see the world in the many shades of grey that it exists. Perhaps not advocating the show as much as the statement, which is what I was trying to state and what the whole series is all about. Because when we got, say, somebody like a Javed Akhtar Saab to come and talk, and he's a role model, and then you've got Smriti Irani, who's also a role model, but they come from different ideologies. But my thing is that you can learn something from everyone. And that's the thing that you started with, which is why I'm very glad, and which is why I think we've chosen a great role model to be here. But
yeah, I would say that what is it? Oh, thank you. Which is why I would say that, sorry, I lost my thread of thought, but the moment you start putting it in binaries, then either you like everything of that person or you hate everything of that person. But everybody has something good in them and something not so good in them. And what we need to look for in role models, and that's why multiple role models are necessary, is to look at what is it that they're good at.
Correct.
And they are good at something, like the example you took. Javed Saab is good at something and that's why he is where he is. Smriti Irani is good at something and that's why she is where she is. And we can always look for those points, pick that up and follow that and go ahead.
And go ahead, absolutely. And one of the things that you strongly believed in is books. And you've journeyed from, and I say this with utmost reverence to your industry, but I don't find a lot of people who are voracious readers, at least the ones that I interact with, not very many are. But you are a voracious reader. You've started a book club. How did this journey transition from being on celluloid and then sitting on a couch and reading books?
So, there are quite a few readers in our industry. I mean, there are a lot of misconceptions about my industry, which has been very generous to me. I'm a total outsider in this industry, and I've had a good life. So I owe a lot to my industry. There are voracious readers. You cannot be very creative unless you are a reader or someone who likes stories. And we are in the business of telling stories. So that is a very important part of our life.
That's why I give the caveat, saying perhaps not very many that I've interacted with.
Yeah. Well, but for me, the reading part came because books for me are my security blanket. So this is something that I go to and hold on to. And that happened in my childhood. My father was on a transferable job. Every 2 years, I was in a new school, new set of friends, getting to know new people. And all of us know that when you kind of go into a new environment where everybody has their friends and all those groups are there, just forming your inroads into those friends takes some time. So either you try too hard or you go into yourself and are really maybe too shy or kind of start feeling isolated. So for me, every kind of opening takes its time. And to give it that time, what gave me the time and had the patience to wait for the openings and the acceptance from my peer group was books. Because I would try, say my hellos, and then sit with my book. A book was my friend, which came with me, went with me, traveled the various cities with me, changed the homes with me, changed the schools with me, but books remained constant. And so that, I think, gave me...
and then you started a book club.
That was later. So what happened because of books was that I learned the fact that you don't have to be accepted by everybody all the time.
Correct.
You don't have to please everybody all the time. And that really helped me as I grew up. Book club was a very interesting thing. It was again another part of it.
Okay.
I was not on social media for the longest time, and I was like, this is not for me. It's too much out there and all of that. Too many fake handles. And my team was like, we need the blue tick. I'm like, what is the blue tick? And then I understood the strength of the blue tick. And I'm like, so whatever comes on this handle is what I'm saying, and everybody else, whoever else is saying, we don't know who that is, and they are fake. So we started that, and when I went onto it, and I said, oh my God, this is amazing, because till then, whatever I was and what I was presented and what audience knew me as was by roles. And the second thing was from the journalists who kind of presented my interviews. There was a lot of bias, their own imagination to it also. So here I could say what it was without anybody else's interpretation of what I was saying.
Correct.
So I loved that fact. I thought it was very democratic. So I loved it. And I realized that it was an amazing tool. And the thing with amazing tools is that it's up to you how you use it. It's a great tool. Now, you can use it for good or you can use it for bad.
Correct.
That's in your hands. And I said, it's an amazing tool. How do I use it well? I had got busy in my life with my child, etc. And I had kind of lost the habit and the discipline of long read. So just wanted to get back to it. I was really missing reading. So I thought I would start a book club digitally, form a community where I would then have to, because you were reading a book together and then discussing it, I would have to finish the book. And that's how the book club started. We are 8 years old today. It's one of the biggest digital book clubs in South Asia. And it's an amazing community that I have.
Many congratulations. Yes. I have... all my smarter friends are a part of it. All my smarter friends who read are a part of it. I'm yet to be a part of it. But what you said is so good, wherein you said that books gave you solace. And in books you found solace, and then you started this book club, of course, much later. And now you're putting yourself out there in terms of social media, and you're sharing your stories. And it's remarkable when a role model does that. Your book is something that you have come out with, which is called a book of books. And I'm quite intrigued with the title of the book, as to why you called it a book of books.
Because this book is about books. It's about the various genres of books. It's about all kinds of books from all age groups. So it's a book for parents to get their children to read. It is a book for teachers to explore new genres. It's a book for youngsters to look at what are the other genres that are available. It's for a reader who in the social media world has now gotten so used to shorts that is getting out of the habit of long reads and who wants to get back to it because they're missing it. It's for those people who have not been readers from their childhood and feel that, oh my God, I have missed the bus because I was not a reader, now I can never be. No, you can be. So it's for those people also. So it's just to help you to become a reader and to enjoy what books can give to you. And that's what the book is about. It's got little journaling tips. It's got little, it's got little helpful things where you can make note of things, and so that it helps you kind of form a habit. Because, reading a book is not just about getting to know a story. It's about building a relationship with the books. And the moment you can fall in love with books and have a relationship, your life changes. And I want to share that with the world because I really think the world needs more readers.
What you said is very, very good. The world needs more readers. But Sonali, what's happened is that we're talking to a digital audience, which, of course, not just on the social media platforms, but in front of us. They're born with the internet. They're born with ChatGPT now. And they use ChatGPT much more than they would 10 years ago, we would use Google. The point that I'm trying to make is that when you've got so many options and so many choices per se, and so many OTT platforms, so much of distraction, to go back to a book, as once when we had Shashi Tharoor came and he said, I asked him, sir, what is the one advice that you would give everyone? I said, Rishabh, I read 365 books in 365 days when I was 13 years old. And I would like to tell everyone that they must read. That's all well and done when you don't have distraction. At that time, you didn't have anything but the radio.
Yeah.
Today, they've got so much of distraction from AI all the way to OTT platforms. Why would a person go back to reading a book when you can summarize this book? Say, for example, the book that you've written. If I were to take the PDF of that and put it in ChatGPT, they would give me a summary in 5 minutes. So they'll say, why waste so much time in reading a 800-page long book?
But there will be people who will enjoy how beautiful a language is, and
Sure.
the beauty of the words, and the beauty of an author's description, which a summary cannot transport you into another world, like a book can. Why does book transport you into another world? Because the beauty of the language that the author uses helps those words transport you to that other world. And that is why you read a book. Now, I agree, it's very difficult, especially for all of you who are born in the internet age, which I was not. I didn't have that many distractions. But I would say that you don't have to just read the book. That's why the book of books. There are so many types of books. Now, let me give you my example. Now, I read multiple books at the same time.
Right.
Because, you know, books, what are you feeling at that time? And you feel like picking up a book that goes with the feeling that you're feeling at that time. And every day you don't feel the same thing. So or every part of the day also you don't feel the same thing. So I read multiple books at the same time. And now what I do is that there are some books that are absolutely have to be a book, physical book in my hand. Then there are some books which are on Kindle, because you can carry a library with you without carrying that many books. Then there are some books which are audibles, because it's not reading maybe, but it is still hearing the story, and it works, it's what goes into your brain.
Sure.
And so there are different ways that you can read. You don't have to stick to one way of doing it. You can do it in multiple ways. And also, there is no rule that when you start a book, you have to finish it. It's absolutely fine to say, oh, I'm not enjoying it, and put it away and start with some other book. I always feel that the only reason why somebody doesn't read is because they've not found the book that is their soulmate.
What about our school textbooks? What if we don't like them? On a lighter note.
Well, I would say that, you know, you have to pass the exam, so you have to do what you have to do. But I feel, for me, my knowledge came from books.
From books.
Yes, because of the stories that were told, because of the worlds that I traveled, because of the characters that I met there. I learned a lot of life lessons in the books. So I would say, yes, we all need to do what schools do. And I also feel that there's a lot of change that is happening in the school curriculums also, where there is so much more that is happening, and much more needs to be done. That's another conversation altogether. But if you can supplement your school books with storybooks and reading in general, it's going to help you with your school books also.
No, absolutely. I remember my library class where it used to be compulsory in school to go to the library and read a book. And we had Harry Potter in the library. And I remember reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone for the very first time in school. And it was like magic. And then we discovered the world of J.K. Rowling, and then that got me into the habit of reading regularly, which other books could not. And therefore, like you said, that perhaps starting with anything that you like is absolutely fine. You don't need to be reading, very difficult books per se, but you can also read a simple storybook, and you can learn so much from the storybook. And therefore, I really like the length of your book.
Also, everything is not for learning. Sometimes it's just
for
because
fun.
It's entertaining. And it's great to be just wanting to be entertained, because all of us need to decompress.
Correct.
There's a lot of stuff happening. And, you know, there is only that much that you can talk about, say, a physics or something. And after some time, you want to decompress, pick up a book, read a few chapters, go back to your school books. That's what books will do for you.
The girl in the first row is nodding. She's like, yes, I completely understand that we need to decompress, and we need to not just talk about physics. Therefore, reading a Colleen Hoover is as acceptable as reading your physics textbook, is what she's saying. Correct? Am I correct in understanding that? Correct. But, you know, what I really like
when
about...
the exams are coming, you might need to read your physics a little bit more than your storybook. And then in your holidays, you can less of physics and more of storybook. That you will have to do time management, and I'm sure you're all great at that.
No, absolutely. But one of the things that I really like about what you've done with your book club is take and make literature accessible. By making it a digital book club, people from all across the country can join. One of my greatest gremlins at the organization has been that we give all the opportunities in a Bombay and Delhi, and it's very easy to pass on the opportunities here. But the real talent of the country, as much as it's sitting right in front of us, is also equally sitting in a Dhanbad, is also sitting in a Roorkela, is sitting in a Jharsuguda. So I.I.M.U.N tries to operate in these different cities in order to give these opportunities. But reading out there as a culture and a habit, and we've started these literature festivals out there. We do it pro bono for them, just like all activities, and we tell them that you buy a book at the end of the activity. But Sonali, if I may, because this is going to go to schools and principals also. Principals tell me this saying, debate tak theek hai, United Nations is also good, all of the other things that I.I.M.U.N does is good. ये साहित्य के बारे में हम लोग स्कूल में भी पढ़ाते हैं. तो instead of a literature festival, the kids anyways have to cover up on curriculum. These are smaller towns specifically. Right. They have to cover up on curriculum. So let them focus on the curriculum now. But again, then when we take a Javed Saab, say for example, and Shabana ma'am is a part of our board, so she's traveled to some of our... So when Shabana ma'am goes to a city, then the principals will send them saying, go talk to Shabana Azmi. But the purpose is not that. The purpose is that they should be reading. So what would your message be to educators who are in tier 3, 4 cities, who are in charge of institutions, on the importance of literature beyond what is available in school textbooks?
So again, like I said, libraries are, for me, a place of worship. Right. Because we are, especially after COVID and everything that goes on social media, we are underestimating how important decompressing is, how important, it's like a valve that needs, so that you let off steam, and that's what libraries and books do. Right. So giving kids that space in Correct. School where you have rich libraries, diverse libraries, makes all the difference, because that's where every student will find something that can be, it can be a graphic novel. It doesn't have to be something very big. But finding that, being able to switch off for some time is something that is so necessary. I think we are all being inundated with so much of noise, so much of information. So being able to kind of slow down, go into a space which is safer in that sense, and being able to read, does help the mental health a lot. There are so many times that every lesson doesn't have to be learned by you going through it personally. It would be crazy. There are a lot of lessons that children learn about how to deal with life, about how to deal with emotions by reading about characters who are going through something. You don't have to actually live through it. Me as an actor, I find that as an outlet, because sometimes I can be a person or a character and play a character without actually having to live the consequences of being that person. Sure. That's what books do. You can actually read about characters, about feelings, about things that are happening, and feel those emotions, understand that graph of life without actually living it Correct. Personally, and because you won't have that kind of time to live through it all. Sure. And that's what books will give you. So the kind of empathy and compassion that books build, that's why a reader is always a more empathetic person, a more compassionate person. Because that reader has explored so many worlds, different cultures, different worlds, and you learn to be more accepting. Correct. You learn to be more inclusive. And that is what is important about reading. And that's what I would tell the principals and the teachers, that great that there are amazing students, your STEM scores are fabulous, but what about your EQ? Your IQ is superb, but where is the EQ? AI is going to take care of the IQ, but where is the EQ? So that comes from the human beings, and that's what books will give to you.
I think you said it beautifully. AI will take care of the IQ, but what about the EQ? And the EQ comes from books, and therefore books should be something that you should definitely read. I must ask you this because you touched upon it. You spoke about mental health, and you've had a very different outlook to mental health, where you've spoken about, instead of addressing a problem as why me, to why not me, and to deal with adversity very differently from what it is shown today. What is your message to anybody who is facing mental health issues or assumes that they are facing mental health issues? How should they deal with adversity?
First of all, identifying that you're dealing with some mental health issue and asking for help is the most important thing. There is no shame in it. I have been in therapy when I needed it, because there are some things that you can deal with yourself, and sometimes you need a professional help. You need somebody. It could be teachers, it could be counselor in the school, it can be counselor outside the school. But what they give you are tools. And those tools are important. How do you use those tools? Like we spoke about social media. It's all about tools. It's what your education is giving you tools to survive in life as you grow older. How will you earn your living, etc. In the same way, the counselor is going to give you tools. And through your life, you will use those tools and better them or personalize them to what works for you by understanding what the tools are. It's not some magic thing that some counselor knows that you don't know. It's about the tools, understanding how to deal with it, and it's always a process. When you said why me and then shifting it to why not me, that one word, why not me, flips everything on its head and changes the way you think. And so that's what tools give you.
I mean,
How do you identify that one thing and flip it and look at it in a different way? And the moment you can start looking at it in a different way, most of the time that problem doesn't really appear so big.
Correct.
It gives you an outlet and you can figure out what can be done. And that is an ongoing process. That's what you will find a lot of things in life. It can be a disease, it can be a loss in business, it can be a failure in exam, not getting admission in the college you wanted, multiple things, Sometimes it is losing a loved one, sometimes it is just the best friend not being your best friend because you've grown away and in different ways and being able to accept that. All of these things are part of life. And it's just the way you use the tools and the way you shift the way you think. I think that makes a huge amount of difference. But does that help? Does it sound too bookish when I say this? It's very easy to say. Some people have the nature and maybe the support system of families around them where shifting this outlook can be easier. For some people, the support is not really there. And for those, I would say, seek the support. Find the safe space. There will be safe places. It feels when you look out at the world, I'll give you my example. When I went through the disease I went through, wherever I went, the kind of love I got, I did not know there was so much love in the world because we hear only the hate stories. We hear about how much everything is wrong in the world. But there is a lot of things that are so right in the world. We just don't hear of them, and we should go and find them. And the moment that shift in your thinking happens, you start looking at what is right, what is good. And trust me, that outlook changes a lot of things.
No, it deserves a round of applause for sure, and much more, but...
Thank you.
No, but perspective is what is needed most, per se, and a half glass full or half empty is how you see it. But what you've mentioned in terms of to stop playing the victim and to start looking at it as an opportunity to better oneself is also necessary because like you said, and you are a living example, and therefore I'm so glad we're doing this conversation, a living example of going through some of the toughest problems and coming out of it smiling, writing a book of books and talking to young people and talking about adversity with a smile on your face. And this is why I think these are the kind of role models that we need. I'm very grateful for you doing this and for sharing that, what you just shared. But Sonali, it'll be unfair. A huge influence on I.I.M.U.N. in a way is somebody from your fraternity who's taught me the importance of a quick rapid fire. He does it on his talk show, and therefore we borrowed it from the talk show. And we also give a small hamper at the end of it, but our hamper is much smaller than what he gives on television. Okay. So we'll have a small rapid fire, if that's okay. She's wondering, saying this is a very long sentence. Yeah. Where is the end of the sentence? Yeah. So that is why she's the author, and I'm just asking the questions. But one book you'd gift every teenager if you had a magic wand and Amazon Prime powers.
I think Giver by Lewis Lowry.
Oh.
Who likes it? You like it?
Yeah. They clap. Yeah. What's your go-to genre when real life feels like a bad soap opera?
Fantasy fiction. Yeah, I love it.
Reading Nook Goals, couch with chai or bed with blanket?
Oh my God, first of all, not chai, it's coffee for me.
Okay.
So a cup of coffee and A couch.
And
A really cozy nook.
Okay. if books were people, which one would you go on a Goa trip with?
I think a Goa trip would be a couple of books. I would, of course, need to have my fantasy fiction, which I need to decompress. But I think there would be some interesting non-fiction also with it. Because some non-fiction books can really expand your way of thinking, expand your horizons, and challenges the way you think. And books that challenge what you normally think you know are so important to have because it just makes you think a lot more. And I think a trip to Goa would be something where you would be relaxing, I would not be working, and hence I would want a challenge also, and some decompression also.
Understood. Which dwarf are you while reading? Are you doc? Are you dopey? Are you grumpy?
Dopey, I think, is the one which is imaginative and a little...
Is dreamy.
Like,
Yes.
That would be me.
Now, this is a very Gen Z question to ask. So I will ask them to explain just in case. But I'm sure you already know this. E-book, paperback, and audiobook. Rank them as relationship, situationship, and nanoship.
What is nanoship? I want to know what is nanoship.
So that's why I said I will have them participate. Explain what is nanoship. Anyone? Pulu, huh? There's a girl who said, I will.
It's like below a situationship. There's no label in the relationship. And you're just good.
But it's still a relationship, right?
But you're not committed.
But then what's the difference between a relationship and a nanoship?
But I thought situationship was also non-committed.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, so I
That's why I said they'll explain.
So then what is the difference between situationship and
It's
nanoship?
when you're not exclusive, when you're like, you're open to seeing other people as well.
Situationship is non-exclusive.
Both of them are non-exclusive. Situationship is when both of y'all are aware that this can bloom into an actual relationship. But nanoship is when you're like, it's happening. Both of you might be unaware. One of you might be aware, but that's the main situation.
That's it. It's not even going to situationship.
So now that you've got the three terms.
Yeah. I don't think I have a nanoship because I'm committed.
but how would you rank ebook, paperbook, and audiobook?
So first one is the relationship.
Relationship.
I think paperbook would be a relationship.
Paperbook.
E-book could be a situationship in the sense of, but I'm committed, so, And what was the other one?
The third one was an audiobook.
That's also a situationship.
That's
I don't think I have a nanoship. Both are situationships because I am into them. And relationship, yes, because that's childhood, security blanket. It's everything warm, everything lovely. A book represents that for me. So
How
that's
lovely.
definitely a relationship for me.
How lovely. Fantastic. The last book that made you want to DM the author and start with, how dare you?
Oh my God. I don't think, first of all, I would ever say how dare you to an author because, just imagine being able to have all these words and being able to write and with this beautiful words. So I have this mad respect for authors. So maybe I wouldn't say how dare you. But some of the books which were like, there was this book called The Fury.
Right.
Michael, what was the name? I'm forgetting of the author now.
I've not read it,
Look,
yes.
you guys are younger. I'm not at that age. So you can look that up. I'm sure you guys will. It's at your fingertips, so I don't need to be this thing. But that was like, from the author, I did expect so much more. The earlier books had been so much nicer. And that book was like a letdown for me. A Little Life.
A Little Life, okay.
A Little Life was one, I looked at it and it's beautifully written. I started reading it when I was going through my cancer treatment. And I remember the members of my book club community telling me that, please, ma'am, this is not the book you should be reading now. And I was like, it's so sad. I'm like, is life so sad only? There's nothing happy in the life. And I was like, I must confess, I couldn't finish the book. It was just so, so sad. And I didn't want to live in that sadness. It was beautifully written, but I had to give it up for my mental health.
Some of them are giving you thumbs up from behind, saying, yes, this is correct. Yes, look at the girl.
Thank
They're
you.
giving you a thumbs up there.
Thank you.
But no, thank you for answering that. And the last two words. One is youth. When youth comes, when I say the word youth, what's the first thought that comes to your mind?
Oh my God. Potential.
Potential. When I say India.
One word. no?
One word, yeah.
Yeah.
When I say India, what's the first thought or word that comes to your mind?
When you
India.
say Indian.
India. Or Indian.
India.
Yeah.
Home.
Oh. And the final one will determine how big the hamper is.
No.
When I say the organization's name, which is India's International Movement to Unite Nations or I.I.M.U.N, what's the first thought that comes to your mind? The first word, rather.
I think I would say youth today and leaders of tomorrow.
How lovely. Thank you. And before I open it up to them, I must recommend, we've already given, I think, 300-400 copies of the book to all of them to read. But to everyone who's watching, I glanced through the book and actually read through it. One of the things that I really loved about the book, and can I just share this quickly, is that it's not a heavy read. It's not something which is where you sit down and it's so difficult to just go to the next page.
That was the idea.
And so thank you for doing that. Because as somebody who always used to get scared of big books, this is a great read. And it also tells you as to why you should read more. Like there is a chapter called 13 Reasons as to why to read or something of the sort, and if I remember correctly. And it lists down, so for people who are not actually readers, and how many of us are not regular readers? Just raise your hands. I would recommend reading this book as your first book because it will tell you the importance of why one should read and in a very fun, nice, light-hearted way without making it cumbersome per se. So thank you for penning the book.
I would like to say about this book is that I do hope that you don't finish this book for a long, long time. And the reason I say it is because as you start reading the book, every time you see a reason or a genre, I want you to go and explore it, try reading it. You might like it, you might not like it. It's just a chapter, 5 to 10 minutes, nothing more than that. Move on from there, go and explore more. And I hope that through the reading of the books, you take multiple stops, try out multiple books, multiple genres, and I hope that you grow a lot by the time you end the book.
Very well put. And there are also places where you can actually write your experiences and share your experience, which is very, very beautiful what you've done with the book. So thank you for 13 Reasons Why.
A lot of times, journaling helps in a lot of ways. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of it. And but journaling also, writing an essay can be cumbersome. So again, we have given little things. So it makes you think about what are those 2 words, 3 words, 4 sentences in which you can describe something. Why did you like it? You know, and when you put that down and when you go and look at it again, it might just make you want to pick up the next book again.
Absolutely. So, which is why a book of books, I strongly recommend a book of books per se. And that perhaps is a great note to end the conversation on. Once again, for being a living embodiment of the phrase, convert adversity into opportunity. And for penning this, and for, they're just very excited with, and for penning the book. Thank you very much. And for spending time. I know it's a busy schedule for you. And in the middle of all the book promotion, sorry, if we get one, then we'll have to ask everyone. So I would just say, if it's possible, we can take one picture of you with everybody in the audience holding the book up high.
Sure.
Yeah?
Thank you so much again, before I put the mic down, for having me here. And I'm really sorry, some of you whom I've missed out. But I think we covered most of the
Hopefully
topics,
we covered
right?
most of it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. One small token of appreciation that we just want to hand over. Yeah. Abhishek will just come, and he's one of the few old people in the organization who's about 22. Thanks very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. One last time, Sonali Bendre.